Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Money and Mindset podcast with your host, Sheryka, Alford, and
Anntricia Bray Smith.
today we're going to kick off our Life Stages series. We're going to take a look at finances in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. And today we have a special guest, Miss Snow White Bray. She's here joining us, and she's going to be the representative, the subject matter expert for those in their 20s. Because let's face it, it's been a while since Anntricia and I have been in our 20s. Snow White,
Absolutely.
thank you so much for being here today. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you for having me. My name is Snow White Bray. I am currently a junior at the University of Central Oklahoma, studying nursing and community public health.
Awesome. And folks, Snow White is not only an excellent student, she's also the daughter of Mrs. Anntricia Bray Smith and my niece. So, Ann, how are you doing over there?
Oh, I'm making it. Making
Making
it.
it?
Yes, ma'am.
All
Good to
right.
be here on this episode today to get some insight, share some insight and all that good old stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. Let's dig in.
All right, let's do that. So basically, today we're going to discuss in your 20s, what are some of the things that you want to be mindful of? And we're also going to share some of our lessons learned. And from Snow White's viewpoint, we would like to hear some of the challenges that you're facing today, being a young woman, young single lady in her 20s, and what that looks like as far as trying to manage finances and that sort of thing. So, Snow White, you shared with us that you're a student. How old are you now?
I am 23 years old.
So you are 23 years old, and just tell me, are you out on you're out on your own paying bills, or are you still at home, or?
I am currently out on my own paying bills. I've been by myself for about a little over 2 years, going on 3.
Wow, wow. So that's just about right out of high school.
Yes, ma'am.
What what are some of the main differences or things that you did not expect once you moved out on your own, as far as the real world and adulting is concerned?
I would say the biggest thing was just like all the responsibility just kind of hit you at once because you're most likely you're fresh out of high school, your parents helped you with everything, and then once you get out on your own, you're like, oh my gosh, like I have to do this on my own now. Like I don't have that extra backup or income. It's just everything you have to do yourself. So I would say that would be the biggest thing.
Okay. And do you feel like, as far as your high school education or junior high education that you received, do you feel that you were, I don't know, adequately trained for that, or are there some things that you feel like you would have done better had you known about?
I could definitely say I really don't think high school actually prepares anybody for this, but I would definitely say that maybe like the little things like listening to like the adults. But I would say what really helped me was so I went to the trade school here in my hometown, and we had to do a literacy class that was required by the state that year. And I would say that actually really helped me because she taught us basically like how to open a savings, checkings account, how to write a check, how to, apply for loans and things like that. But high school in general, I don't think it really prepared us.
Oh, okay. Wow. So, Anne, how about you? It's been a
Well,
little while.
I know that with several young ladies and young men, like I said, young, trying to figure it out, getting ready for college and to take that leap into adulthood. It's really can be a difficult transition for many of them, and I see a lot of them struggling with that, just trying to find where they belong, whether the cross between being dependent and independent, grown, not grown. There's so many different challenges and stuff that uh, our youth are facing, our young adults are facing. And as a result of it, many of them have given up on education. Many of them, they go a year or two. Maybe it wasn't the best experience. Maybe they weren't connected to the best institution for what they need. Uh, I would be interested to know what have been the most difficult challenges you faced so far, and what has given you the motivation or the encouragement to continue to hang in there and fight for your education?
Oh, I would say the most difficult challenges. So, of course, we have like like I have scholarships, and then of course I get financial aid, but sometimes it doesn't cover the entire tuition. So with colleges, you're not, if you don't pay off a certain amount by the next semester, you're not able to enroll. So I would say that would be the most difficult thing, or say, or rough, because you have to come up with the extra money, because like you said, some people actually take that year or two off to either save money or just to take a break. But if you're like me, you're like, look, I want to go ahead and get this over with, I want my education now, like this is something that I want to do in my life. And so making that extra money but making that extra money would be very difficult, because you do have to make sacrifices. You do have to go out and get a part or a full-time job. Maybe you have to take out a loan, and eventually those loans will catch up to you.
So where did you find the motivation to keep pressing through the challenging days? Because we know that uh, we take for granted that people are young, they're living their best life, but it can be emotionally taxing on young adults as well. And so what kind of emotional support have you received, or what kind of emotional support worked for you? Where did you find that support that you needed to help pull you through and not give up?
I would say definitely my friends and family are my motivation. My best friend, she's a realtor, and she'll text me randomly, be like, "Hey, Snow, you got this. Like, keep pushing. It's not easy, because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it." And so she's a great motivator for me, and my sister, of course. But I would really say my nanny is who keeps me going, because I want to be an NP. I want to be a nurse practitioner. And my nanny's dream was to be an RN, but she never got to fulfill that. So I feel like, and it's something I really want to do. I really love helping people, but I do feel like fulfilling that for me and being able to give back is something that she wasn't able to do. And I feel like it will also make her happy, but also it will make me happy, because I love working with people. Like, I'm a very open-minded person. So.
Okay. So what kind of motivation, or what would you advise, or what would you do to help empower maybe that young boy or that young girl who started out on the path but then fell some way by the wayside? What kind of encouragement, what kind of message can you send that person, that young person that gave up on education because of the challenges? It was just so much and it was so overwhelming, or maybe they got sidetracked. What kind of message would you send that one listening today that's in their 20s and uh, looking for a direction for their life? Because we know that there's so many, with today's society, the world, uh, impacting our finances, impacting our careers. There's so much that we're up against. And yet, so many feel hopeless in a time like this. What kind of message would you send to that boy or young lady today?
would definitely say just take it one day at a time. Like, it's high school and college are two completely different things. College is a completely different world. No, we're not prepared for it. We're basically just kind of pushed into it. So it's not easy. It's not going to get easy. Getting your associate's, bachelor's, master's, PhD, it's not easy. It's going to take time. It's going to take sacrifices. You may not get to go home on holidays. You may not get to go out and hang out with your friends, but those sacrifices are definitely worth it in the end. And yeah, there are some days you may feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, but just always try to think of the outcome that will happen once you're finished.
Wow, those are some excellent words of advice. And let me just tell you, you have been dropping it sacrifices, responsibility. You have pinpointed the importance of community, not just any community, but a positive, encouraging community. And those are all keys that, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, wherever you are, those are keys to just success and just hanging in there. So, Snow White, I really appreciate you joining us today and sharing your time and your story. And so, if you're just tuning in, we are the Money and Mindset podcast, and we have special guest Snow White Bray here, and she's just sharing her life experience with us at all of 23 years old, and she has so much wisdom even now. So we really do appreciate you sharing that with us. Okay, so sure.
As we are getting ready to wrap up this segment, looking into the 20-year-olds generation, you know, 20-year-olds nowadays, we look at it thinking that it should be the prime of their life. They should be out, going out enjoying it, trying to figure out, just a good time. What would you say has been your greatest lesson learned up until this point before we get out of here today? What is your greatest lesson learned to date at 23 years old, in college, working full time, trying to figure out your career path? What has been your greatest lesson learned before we wrap up?
I would definitely say my greatest lesson learned is what my auntie repeats to me all the time: choices and consequences.
What
That's
do you
what
mean by
I
that?
would say. I will hear that randomly any day, anywhere. I can just hear her in my head: Snow White, choices and consequences. So
So,
that's
so when
definitely
you
what I
say
would say.
choices and consequences, help us understand that. What do you mean, choices and consequences?
Like, whatever choice you make, there's going to be consequences. There's going to be negative or positive, whether it's a negative or positive choice. So just be prepared.
Awesome. So yeah, we appreciate you joining
Hey, do
us.
listen.
We appreciate you joining us here today for this Money and Mindset episode where we're looking into the 20-year olds, seeing the challenges and things that they face. So guys, we can't take for granted that life is going to be easy. And there is no handbook, no one size fit all formula that tells us step by step what to do. And regardless, of what our education background, when we step out into different arenas in our life, no different than school to college, no different from college to career, no different from career to retirement, there's always going to be some challenges. It's not mapped out for us, but we cannot be afraid to take the risk. We cannot be afraid to find ways to sacrifice and just do what we got to do to embrace ourselves around people that are encouraging and empowering. Surround ourselves with a loving support system so that we can be the best that we can be no matter what age or generation we are in. So, nonetheless, I am your host, Anntricia Bray Smith.
And I am Sheryka Alford. Until next time. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Money and Mindset podcast here with Sheryka Alford and